Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching this weekly Ag Weather Update brought to you by the Farm Credit Associations of North Carolina. Let's just take a look at what has happened across the United States over the last 5 or 6 days. I'm going to take you back and look at the difference in temperature between Thursday, January 31st and Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday here, February 3rd. And look at this. We saw across parts of the Midwest here, we saw temperature increases that were over 70 degrees. That's how cold things were here in the Midwest. But look over here in the Carolinas, we still saw temperature increases after that cold snap came through of 20 to 30 degrees. And this wild ride around with temperatures right now is going to be hanging on for a while. And let's take a look at the reasons why. We're going to start off here by looking at over the next 10 days what we're looking at in terms of precipitation anomalies. And if we look at this, we can kind of see that for much of the southeast, we're looking at a drier pattern, while much of the Ohio River Valley, the lower and mid-Mississippi River Valley, or kind of the central United States here, is going to be wet. It's wet in California. It's dry, rather dry here on the far kind of northwest coast of the United States and British Columbia there. And that pattern we have to diagnose because this is going to set us up for February and possibly early March as well. So let's take a look at it. Now here's what I did. You remember how we just saw a few moments ago that this region right in through here was looking very wet? Well, I wanted to know what kind of pattern does it take to get that region really wet in February, because it was a pretty strong signal. And this is what it starts off as. First, a big ridge sets up shop here in the Gulf of Alaska. That causes the flow of the atmosphere to split into a northern branch that does this and a southern branch that does that. They kind of meet over Texas and then go racing on off to the north and east like this. Now, why this is so important for us down here in the Carolinas is because this is going to set off a very typical storm track we call the Colorado Low, which is going to start in Colorado and then go racing on off to the northeast. Now, why is that important? That's important because we will more than likely see ridging here over the southeast, keeping things relatively dry and relatively warm. So where's the colder air? It's in the northern plains. Where are the low pressure systems? Are in the Midwest, in the Ohio River Valley and up the northeast. That region is going to go on a temperature roller coaster ride. California is going to get slammed with snow and more flooding and mudslides. But here in the southeast, we are going to be set up, at least in the near term, with possibly a warmer and drier pattern. Now I'm just going to play it for you so you can see this for yourself. But this is the European model run in ensemble mode through the next 15 days. Are you ready for this? Remember, ridges are in the warm colors, troughs are in the cool colors, and what do you see? We see that for the most part, especially over the next 10 days, things kind of get stuck into this pattern where they do something more like this. And when it's set up like that and there's a broader ridge feature in this area, we are going to keep out of that bitterly cold air that's going to be locked away in parts of the north central plains. And so this pattern is a drier pattern and this pattern is a warmer pattern. Okay, watch the temperature anomalies. This is every 6 hours out for the next 15 days. Where do we see the colder air setting up? It is not over the Carolinas for the most part. In fact, we see several warmer days. But you do remember that as we got toward the end of that animation, that upper level trough did try to move its way into the middle part of the country, which means while we'll enjoy several warmer and drier days, we may be pushing over toward a cooler pattern as we get into the middle part of February and toward the end of it. There's certainly some evidence that this colder air will finally migrate east once we get past mid-month. So that's what our temperatures are looking like. Now, remember over the weekend and early Monday morning, we were still dealing with this pesky low that was kind of setting up here just off the coast. Interesting kind of setup here for this time of year, but you saw that it was bringing some coastal rain showers there to North Carolina. Well, as we progress this on through the early part of this week, we see that the main action's there over the Great Lakes, and it looks like it's going to try to drag a front. I'm talking Tuesday morning, getting in throughout the day on Tuesday through the Carolinas, but this is really not bringing in much scattered rain at all. Sorry, let me remove my drawings there. You just saw, I'll just step back here again. Look, this is overnight hours on Monday into Tuesday morning. Those showers just don't get here. The system lifts too far to the northeast. The next system, look, follows that same, they come out of here and they go like this. And that keeps it away from the south and southeast. In fact, it might even not even be until Friday before we see some precipitation. So the start of the week, relatively mild and dry. Let's check out what the European model has to say about this. So let me just get you out here to midday Tuesday. And as we kind of progress through the day on Tuesday, notice higher atmospheric pressure dominates. See it down there? And that keeps stuff going like this. keeps us in the Carolinas relatively dry. This is getting into Wednesday. Remember, Wednesday evening, getting into Thursday morning. Look, it stays to our north for the most part. Maybe some widely scattered showers. It's not until this big system cranks up Thursday night into Friday morning that we have a powerful enough cold front to finally bring some stuff through here. So we are going to enjoy throughout much of this week relatively mild and drier conditions. And that is what happens when we have a dominant high pressure center controlling things for us this time of year. Okay, when we put it all together, just to show you where that cold air stays, we can just look for the snow. Look, we got the snow staying way up here. So we're not even really talking about snow in the Appalachian Mountains at all. And secondly, where's our heavy rainfall going to be? It's going to be up here in the Ohio River Valley, in the mid-Mississippi River Valley. And overall, we got a drier stretch into here simply due to the presence of that high keeping it out of there. And the rain that you see here, remember, this was the rain that was still remnant there on Monday into early Tuesday from that cutoff low that's finally moving off the coast. So this is a drier pattern in the near term. Now, the bigger question is, do we stay warm? So I'm going to take you to the tropics because right now what is dominating our flow is something called the Madden-Julian Oscillation. And this is just a region across the tropical ocean that stretches from the the east coast of Africa all the way over to the Central Pacific. And here's what I want you to see. It's right now hanging out here in phases 6 and 7. The latest European model updates take it over into phase 8 and eventually over to phase 1. Now, if we take this from phase 1 into phase 2 and 3 and keep it high amplitude, which means we're keeping it away from the center here, phase 1, 2, and 3, those are cooler phases for much of the United States. So I realized the groundhog came out and saw a shadow, and therefore winter looks like it's going to be ending early, and it is certainly going to feel that way for all of us over the next 10 days or so. But if the MJO does dominate our pattern with that weakened polar vortex plus the MJO going over to phases 1, 2, and 3, we are not done with winter yet. Now, let's now talk about what this stuff does to other major places that are growing crops that are similar to what we grow here in the Carolinas. And first, we're going to take you off to South America. Phase 8, Phase 1, Phase 2. These are wetter patterns for Brazil. Now, why do we need to care about that? We are rapidly harvesting first crop soybeans here in Brazil. We're planting that safrinha crop, which is corn and also cotton. And we see that as we get into those wetter phases, we're bringing in moisture. Now, this isn't going to do a thing to help soybeans. The soybeans are done. They're getting harvested. But this is going to bring back the moisture that we've been missing that's going to help out that corn and cotton crop that's going in. Meanwhile, by the way, Argentina's been extremely wet up until this point. They're looking to dry out as that particular thing, that phase in the MJO changes. Also, look at this. If we come over here to the operational run from the European model, widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain while Argentina stays dry. So that's one area we want to watch. What's the other one? Australia. We saw a tropical system come on shore here over the last 8 to 10 days, in some locations dropping between 8 and 16 inches of rain. Meanwhile, down where we plant a lot of cotton and wheat, things are dry. We look over the next 15 days, they stay dry in Australia's major growing regions. But finally, that nasty, nasty hot weather that they've been experiencing will be a cool down here over the next 5 to 10 days as this broader trough feature finally slides through. So that's a bit of a change there for Australia. But those are the two main areas we're watching outside of the Carolinas. So again, with that ridge setting up, warmer, drier pattern in store. But remember, things are looking to shift mid-month toward the end of the month where we go back into a winter pattern. We'll keep you updated on that, plus all these other global regions each week. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We hope you look forward to our next forecast video coming out early next week. Until then, enjoy the nice warmer weather.